Hey now, welcome to episode number 53 of the Batman on Film vlog. And yes, that is not Rick Shue on the other side
No.
of the screen. That would be Garret Grev.
Hey,
Garrett. Now you're a longtime BOFer, and you've been a contributor what for over a year at least.
yeah, just like about a year and a half
Okay,
or so
all
now.
right. So you want to tell the folks they probably have heard you on the Batman on Film podcast. They've read your
Right.
reviews, but um, just for this audience, I don't know if it's different or the same. It's probably the same, but just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get rolling on our topics here.
Yeah, so I'm a Minnesota boy, born and raised. I went to school in Indiana and Iowa, and I grew up in northern Minnesota, like in the woods. When the back of my mom's house was a lake, the front of my mom's house was a state forest, and we didn't have internet or anything. And this wasn't like that long ago, where that would be not an uncommon thing if this was back in the 80s, but this was the early 2000s. And I went to college, and it was the first time I had like internet access of my own. And so instead of using that for furthering my education, I immediately tried to find out if we were ever going to get a Batman 5 movie at the
Yes,
time, and
yes,
that's when I found Jett D's Batman 5 tripod page.
yeah, yes,
And
yeah,
that was, I think I was 18. It was probably 2001, and followed the site forever. I did shot you a couple emails
yeah.
over the years, and then started getting more involved as I got on Twitter actually a few years ago, kind of late to the Twitter game, and then started joining up to write reviews. Been doing the podcast for a while and doing the vlog. I'm trying to think about like what I could do to do my best Rick Shue impression to fill in, but
Just be yourself, and that will be way better than anything Rick. I love you, Rick. Come on
yeah, I
now.
love you, Rick.
All
Love
right.
you, Rick.
And you, yes, I know northern Minnesota
Oh yeah,
fairly very well. My wife is from Minnesota. We spent a lot of time in Breezy Point,
right.
Pequot
Which is
Lakes, Brainerd Lakes area, Nisswa.
right,
Yes.
right where I grew up. So that
Yeah.
was kind of a fun thing, as we
Yeah.
got to know each other, more
Yeah.
personally to find
Yeah.
out like a ton of the same people
Yes.
from
Yeah.
where you guys have spent a
Yeah.
bunch of time and Rachel's
Yes.
family. So it's kind of funny that between following the website for 20 years and then you spending a bunch of time right near where I
Yeah.
grew up, we hadn't got to know each other
Yes.
better yet.
Yes. Yes.
But here we
Absolutely.
are.
And you are not a Jack Pine savage. Even though
No, I'm
yes, some people
Minnesota
don't
nice.
understand what that means. But
Right.
real quick, this is going to be rapid fire, and then we're going to talk about a couple Batman related things, Batman on film related things. All right, favorite Batman movie live action.
Dark Knight.
Uh,
Um,
okay,
yeah.
Favorite Batman movie animated. Yeah.
Mask of the Phantasm.
Okay, favorite Batman comic book story, single issue, preferably.
Single issue. The Man Who Falls.
Okay, very good. It's a good choice. Favorite Batman trade or graphic novel?
Hush, you can tell me it's overrated all
Okay.
you want.
All right, there we go. All right. First, we're going to talk about Joker, and there's a reason why we waited till after the second weekend. But we're going to talk because the news broke yesterday. Zoe Kravitz is the new Catwoman on film.
Yeah.
Garrett, what do you
Yeah.
think?
I think it's a great choice.
Yeah.
So as we kind of got down and you tweeted some pictures and put it up on the Batman Facebook page, kind of hinting at what this last kind of list of
Yeah.
final contestants was. Zoe Kravitz was my pick that entire
Yeah.
time. So when the news broke, I can't remember if it was Variety that had it. That's where I saw
That's where I
it.
saw it first. Yeah, it was Variety.
Yeah, I was thrilled with the choice. I think she's super talented. She's been in sort of your big blockbuster motion pictures before. I
Yeah.
think she's been doing some really good character work on Big Little Lies. I watched that with my wife on HBO. So yeah, thrilled.
Yes, and apparently the Final Four, and I'd heard about this actress a while back. I tweeted a picture of her. Anna de Armas was in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Ella Balinska, Balinska, Ella Balinska, Isa Gonzalez, and of course Zoe Kravitz were the top four. Variety said they got down to two, and then Zoe Kravitz, and they all read with Robert Pattinson.
Oh, that's good. I didn't see that
Yeah,
detail.
and ended up Zoe Kravitz got the gig. So
Yeah, I was Anna de
Yeah,
Armas until sort of that last list that you put out, and it was a
yeah,
lot more yeah, African American actresses was what sort of they had looked like. I imagine from a story
yeah,
standpoint, like the online fanboy nonsense is ridiculous. I think
yes, yeah,
if these are the actresses they're looking for, it's because that's the story that Matt Reeves wants to tell.
yeah,
So before we kind of got to that point, Anna de Armas was the actress that I was like, oh man, sort of picture perfect, for a few different of the more popular iterations of Selena Kyle from the comic books. Not that that is what makes her great, so makes or breaks a great movie, but I thought she had some really strong work in her filmography as well. So either of those choices I would have been thrilled with, but Zoe Kravitz I think could bring something really special to this role. So
yeah.
I called me excited.
I would be fine with any of those four actually, but I really like Zoe Kravitz. I did like Anna, and like I said, I would have been happy with all four. So I'm looking forward to see what they do with Catwoman. Of course, we just had. Well, I say just had. It was 7 years ago.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
The Dark
It's the
Knight
same.
Rises was the last incarnation of Cat. Well, and I guess if you want to count Gotham, we had the Gotham version. If you
Sure.
count live action uh, characterizations, TV included, and of course you go back to the Michelle Pfeiffer, or there was Halle
Yeah.
Berry, there was the three from the Lee Merriweather and Julie Newmar, and of course Eartha Kitt. So we have a new Catwoman. And what's ironic about Zoe Kravitz is she voiced Catwoman in the Lego
Right.
Batman movie.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And Aquaman's her stepdad.
yes,
So
that's good. Let's see. The Hollywood Reporter in their report says that they pretty much confirmed that Jeffrey Wright is Commissioner Gordon,
right.
and that Reeves is going for a grounded approach to the material and a grounded approach to the film, and it will be with a lot of villains, and it's very sevenish slash Chinatown. That
Wow.
kind of it's going to be a mystery, and Batman's
Yeah.
going to have to do detective work. I'm looking forward to it. So, anything on that else before we move on to Joker?
No, I'm all for that. I think
Okay.
we've sort of seen when I hear the grounded approach, and I think there's conversation was kind of happening this morning or last
Yes.
night on Twitter just a little bit. The grounded approach to me, and to a point I think I saw you make, feels a little bit different than hyper realism like we
Yes.
got from Nolan.
Yeah.
Clearly much different than what we got with Nolan Schumacher. So
Yes.
I am very interested in when you talk about those movies, the grounded approach. It doesn't mean that it can't have some fantastical elements to it in my mind, but they don't have to be huge. This doesn't have to
Yes.
be big, elaborate CGI special effects, end of the
Yes.
world, swirling cloud of energy in the sky stuff. And
I think it could be grounded and still has some be stylized to a certain
right,
extent, and it's not mean the aesthetic is going to look like the Nolan films. That's what people immediately went to. To me, it means maybe you're not going to get Batman fighting Clayface, some big CGI, you know, mud mud
right.
ball or whatever. So hey, I'm confident in Matt Reeves. So whatever he wants to do, let's get it. And hey, it's getting closer every day to we're waiting for this movie, and it's going to be here and
Yeah,
gone.
yeah,
Before we know it.
absolutely.
Like we just said, Dark Knight Rises was 7 years ago.
That's crazy.
7 years ago.
And as soon as we'll turn around and it'll be here. So
Yes.
like, this is the fun stuff, and this is the
Yes.
I've told you it's such a cool time to be a part of the team because this feels like the time when I was checking the website every single day before Batman Begins, like the frenzied thirst for
Yeah.
information. This is the production of a new approach to a standalone Batman movie, and there's something really special about that. So everybody
Yeah.
needs to just sort of take a breath and enjoy it as we get this
Yes.
news, and don't have your eye too far on the finish line of being in the
Yeah.
theater and seeing this thing.
Absolutely out of all the stuff that Batman on Film covers, we cover a lot of the DC stuff too, besides Batman, but solo live action Batman movie is
Yeah,
that's
that's it.
Boom, it goes.
Yeah.
That's it. So all right, Joker. It's into week 3. It's had 2 weekends, and we'll get to the box office in a minute. What did you think about Joker? Garrett?
Oh man, yeah, I texted you and I kind of shared this online just a little bit. I thought it was really well done. I thought the performance was incredibly impressive. I was really kind of blown away by Todd Phillips and what he was able to do. I think we saw maybe hints that he had a movie like this in him with his style of comedy and some of the just elements of the broader
Hmm.
kind of goofier motion pictures he's made before. So all of that was excellent, and I said, I don't know if I really like it.
Yeah.
Like it's really well done, a ton of highly commendable stuff, and I don't know if I enjoyed it. And I've had some time to think about it, and I think I did enjoy it. It certainly isn't a feel-good movie, and
No.
I've sort of
No.
shifted as I've gotten older and had more children. I feel like I've gotten more sensitive, and
Yeah.
I kind of like feel-good stuff.
Yeah.
But I can totally respect how well this was done. Actually do want to see it again. I wanted to see it again before we got
Yeah.
together, and just schedules didn't
Yeah.
work out. So I'll see it one more time in the theaters for sure. I'm sure it'll end up on my, shelf of my DC and Batman movie collections. Um, but yeah, this I don't think this was it wasn't intended to be that type of movie. So
Yeah.
when I can walk out a movie and say I don't feel good, and the director didn't want me to, that's a
Well,
successful
yeah, I
movie,
was going to say that's your reaction is probably what they were going for,
right?
and it was really it's my I share your thoughts on that. I did a short video when I came out of the press screening. And I was like, I'm kind of at a loss for words right now, and it blew me away. And um, I mean, I gave it an A+. I think it was it's an excellent, well done, great film made very well, and it gets the reaction that it meant to give. And I think what's really awesome about it is there are so many. One person can interpret it one
Oh,
way, and another person can interpret it completely different, and that's what they were going for as well. So, speaking of that, what's your interpretation? Now, spoiler warning, folks.
right.
It's been out 2 weeks.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay, so
So I would say, okay, and this isn't an original take.
yeah,
I've seen some people say this, but
yeah.
I thought it as I was watching the movie and as I left the
Okay,
movie.
all right,
The Joker's origin, he said it himself, is choose your own adventure.
yeah,
And you can do that even with this movie that is telling a very specific story of Arthur Fleck. You can still say, this guy is the Joker at the end of the movie. And I don't know how much of, as an audience member, we are meant to trust Arthur Fleck as the narrator of his own origin.
yes,
So I think you and I are sort of on the same side of the spectrum, but split a little bit on, I think there are elements in this movie that people are assuming happened that didn't. And I think you're probably a little bit further even on that existence plane than I am. I mean, what did you think? How much of this
okay,
was real
yeah.
deal narrative, and how much was meant to be?
I fluctuate because people have brought
Yeah,
up points like at the very beginning. Someone made a great point about him being off his meds and he couldn't get his meds anymore. And it's
right.
like, okay, so did he just from that point on was it just the delusions escalate from there? And I'm like, that's a great
Yeah,
point. To me, I would say, and I'm like I said, this is fluid. I think everything when he's the Joker, I think that is all in his head. I think that the protest happened, but I think that he injected himself into it as the leader, part of his fantasy.
sure.
With the clown mask that looked just like what he had on, and he's the leader, and he's inspired all this because he was a nobody and society had shunned him.
Yeah,
And I think even the Wayne murders was a way for him to get back at Thomas Wayne because the riot that he inspired, the protest he inspired, ends up taking out Thomas Wayne, who treated him like
right.
shit. It
Yeah,
shunned him as well. So, and then there's the end scene where I mean, you could say, okay, he's been locked up in Arkham Hospital the whole time, and the whole damn thing was in his head. So
yeah, yeah, totally.
I'll go with what I said. I think the Joker part, from that point on, I think that was all delusional fantasy, but it's still very ambiguous. So
Yeah, I agree, and I've kind of fluctuated
yeah,
quite a bit first because those thoughts, when he's at Arkham State Hospital, I think they
yeah,
call it in this
yeah,
one. at the end. I'm like, man, everything before this could have been just this. He says, "Oh, I'm thinking of something for a joke. You
Yeah.
wouldn't get it."
Yes.
Like was that the entire story?
Yeah.
The piece that I go back to where I'm like, maybe it's something less than that is the movie. Todd Phillips sort of gave us a little bit of glimpse of like a rule into reality bending in that movie with the let's go back and sort of re-examine the scenes where Zazie Beetz' character wasn't actually present, kind of the Sixth Sense look where we go back and it's just what was his name in that one, Bruce Willis's wife sitting alone at a dinner table, right? Like he wasn't actually there. There's that same sort of feel. So it kind of felt like the movie's giving you this signal of, yep, he's delusional, and some of this was in his mind, but we're going to show you what it was. But then there's just too many other pieces that didn't quite feel right. And I think sort of, you said the Wayans murders. I thought that was honestly one of the weakestly, the element that they did kind of the poorest job executing. It felt a little hammy to me. It felt a little forced in. But I'm like, nothing else in this movie feels that way. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the quality surrounding that scene tells me that there's a reason why that part played that way for me. At least I'd like to think so. And if that is the reason, it's because, Arthur is off his meds, his delusions are growing larger and larger, and this is this imaginary thing where he's projected some wish fulfillment of vindication or something about that just didn't quite click for me too. And and that's the great piece. I think in interviews with Zazie Beetz, she talked about how they did a lot of rewriting of the script and her character and what was real and what wasn't as they went. Yeah. So that allows you to sort of make it up for yourself as you go through. Yeah.
So I mean, that's our interpretation. That's our thoughts on Joker. We waited and we're going to finish up real quick here. We waited till this, not only because of schedule reasons, but also we said, you know what? Let's see how this thing does second weekend. And it did well. Okay, it made $55 million domestic. It had only
43%
drop off. It's down. It's up to about 193 million domestic, 351 worldwide. And it sits right now. It's
351, Bill. Sorry, was the foreign. I just looked this up. It's at $500 almost $50 million worldwide.
351. So it's 12 domestic of a DC movie. Is it going to get to? Okay, you think it'll get to 300 million?
Yeah, it'll get to 300 million. Yep. So if you see a 43% drop in week 2, I would anticipate week 3 drop is more similar to a week 2 drop. So if this drops in the neighborhood of 60% for next week, and then it has some legs into the fall. And as we get closer to Halloween, I expect that last weekend before Halloween to bump back up. Okay. Yeah. So I think you could actually see a week 4 to 5 increase. This thing's very, very likely to get to 300 million domestic.
Squad is 325.1 million domestic. So I wonder
that would be something.
It surpasses Suicide Squad and moves up because it's going to go past Justice League, Man of Steel, and other movies like that. So
you get a little battle of the Jokers versus Joker and Suicide Squad there too, don't you?
Yes. And last thing, you want a sequel to this?
No, absolutely not. Okay. I don't want a sequel to it. I like the fact that I don't know. I like the fact that this is the story of this Joker. This is what the Joker is in this world that Todd Phillips created. Yeah. And I also I have 0.0. This blew my mind. I saw so many people on Twitter talking about this. 0% interest in seeing this Joaquin Phoenix Joker taking on the Robert Pattinson Batman. The wannabe Batman in hockey pads in The Dark Knight could take out this Joker. Yeah. This is not an evil mastermind. This is not a skilled fighter. This is a mentally ill individual that went on maybe went on a mini rampage. This Joker story is all I need for this Joker. Now, sometime down the line, show me Matt Reeves' Batman taking on his Joker. Yes. Let this Joker do its own thing.
Matt Reeves come up with his Joker.
Yeah,
and that's in his Gotham, not
absolutely.
Todd Phillips' Gotham and Joker. Absolutely, and I don't want. I mean, you bring up the Sixth Sense. It'd be like doing Sixth Sense too. You did your magic trick.
He's still dead.
So why do you want? I don't want anything explained for me. I don't want him all of a sudden become criminal mastermind or a bank robber or
Right.
whatever. And it
Yeah.
just, let it
He's
be.
a
Yeah.
he's a sad, sick guy that
Yeah.
got violent
Yeah.
because the world around him pushed him in that direction when he was already previously ill, right?
Yes.
But that's this Joker. That's this
Let this
story.
film be. Don't tarnish it with any sequel. I don't want any explanations. Let it be. I think it's gonna be a people will be talking about this movie for years to come. And
Right.
that's son of a great movie. All right.
And you saw this at the
Yeah.
press screening, right?
I did.
Like
Yes.
what, Tuesday before the
Yes.
Thursday
Yes.
opening night?
Yeah. Yeah.
I shared this story. I'll tell it to you real quick. Thursday night, I talked about this on my fantasy football podcast, but I thought it was just a very funny, kind of awkward, and also sad, really, experience. So I saw this Thursday night. My buddy Brandon and I see all the superhero movies
Yeah.
together. He was down in Arkansas during the week,
Yeah.
and then was flying up. His flight was delayed. And I had tickets. I wasn't really going to go see it by myself. And then last minute, I'm like, well, I know I'm going to want to talk about it with the guys and everything over the weekend. So this is my chance. So I got in the car a little bit late, drove to the movie theater. All the previews were over. The credits were just starting. Every seat in the house was packed. It's 10:30 showing.
Yeah.
And I show up after the lights are down. And like the media was really whipped up a lot of hysteria about this could
Yeah.
be because of the psychosis of the
Yeah.
Joker, a target for something awful to happen. And I walk into the theater after the movie had started, and every head in the house
gosh.
turned and looked directly
Yeah.
at me. And it was this weird moment where I froze, like, what did
Yeah.
I do? And then I realized, oh no, they're terrified of me. They
Yeah.
think I'm
Yeah.
here to do something terrible. And I was like, gave him a little wave. No, sorry guys, just a middle-aged suburban dad
Yeah.
here to nerd out by myself and watch a movie. Took my seat, sat down, and pulled my hat down. It's like,
my
oh man,
gosh.
that was
That's
that was really
funny and kind of scary at the same time. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, experience is funny, but pretty sad
Yeah.
that we have to be worried about
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Absolutely. All right. You want to plug anything before we get out of here?
Yeah, besides what I'm doing at the show for the website, we talked about reviewing Justice League, Batman on Film. One of the best team superhero runs that's been around in years. Really excellent work. New issues out this week. Reviewing Batman, Superman, which I think issue 3 comes out next month. That's been a fantastic start to that team up book. Otherwise, you can catch me on the podcast, BOF podcast. And then I mentioned I have a fantasy football website and podcast called What Are the Odds? Fantasy Football. You can look that up if you like to hear me talk about fantasy characters. You can also hear me talk about fantasy football over there. And we're on Twitter at WATOFFB.
Very good. All right. What's your own Twitter?
I am Garret, WATO, GARRET, and then the WATO from What Are the Odds?
All right, then. All right. So I'm Jett Ramey. I'm the founder of Batman on Film. Of course, some of you may not have known that. All right. So I'm going to let you do the Rick part here. You don't have to do it. You can do it straight up Minnesota style because there's no, I don't know because I know dadgum's not a word that's used up that part of the country. But Batman on Film, Garrett. Batman on Film, authoritative, definitive.
The Dad Gum Original.
Oh, there you go.
That was
All right.
kind of Texas and Minnesota.
Yeah,
I'd be
that
like,
was-
the Dad Gum Original.
That was.
There we go.
All
The
right.
Dad Gum Original.
All right. We'll catch you next time. Hope you enjoy the show. Peace out.